right. Well, we're back with another episode. Episode number 4.
Episode number 4.
Let's go, bro.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah.
Let's do
Sorry
this.
for the delay in episodes. We had some minor difficulties last week, but we're back.
Life gets lifey.
It does.
Yeah, man.
It does, and we got to roll with it. You know,
It's good to be back. Yep,
Yeah.
for sure.
So this week we're gonna do a little something different. We got some topics we're gonna share on. Should I say the topics or?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. We just, you know what? We come up with these topics just 7 minutes ago.
7.
7 minutes ago.
In
and we're gonna rapid fire and just kind of go off the cuff on a few things that we think are key to our discussion, any discussion on addiction and recovery.
For sure. It applies.
It applies.
These topics apply.
Indistinguishable from addiction and recovery themselves are the 3 topics of denial,
Ego.
and guilt and shame. So that's what we're going to be talking about today in succession.
Yep.
And just kind of going off the cuff.
Yep. We'll both give our interpretation of each.
Once again, welcome to we should give a This Too Shall Cast, the podcast, episode 4.
I didn't even say the title of the podcast. Episode 4.
Episode 4.
Yeah.
I am Lenny. This is my buddy Alex.
What up?
Good to see you. So, I mean, right into the meat and potatoes. Let's talk about. The last time I had a chance to share or talk on denial, it became, ever evident to me that this disease feeds on it. If there's any element of my personality that contributed to my never wanting to be exposed. Mm-hmm. The ability it hinged on my ability to call a circle a square, my ability to ignore the obvious, and denial. That's what denial is all about. And there's probably several facets too of denial that went into play. One, first and foremost, obviously, is my inability to admit what's really going on, my inability to face my own feelings, and as we've heard, probably maybe some of you who've been to meetings have heard, an inability to accept life on life's terms, right? I think that's at the core of denial for me, and for me that as much as anything almost killed me, right? Yeah. So, how about yourself?
Well, so denial. It actually kept me. So this a buddy of mine, Joe. He explained denial in a way that was really interesting. So when you're at a cafeteria, you're going to get your tray to get your food, and it's like if you were to X-ray it, you would see a whole stack of trays popping up every time you take one.
Right.
Right?
True enough.
So that's what denial is.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can picture that, if you're listening, kind of what I just explained, but when you're standing over it, all you can see is the top.
The top layer.
The top layer. So what Joe explained to me, and Joe, if you're watching, you know who you are. The denial, in a sense, protected me from going off the absolute deep end and into crazy land.
For sure.
Because it only let me really deal with, and what Joe called top plate.
Yeah.
So denial was the ignorance of the stack below. I couldn't see it, but it also was like, you're not ready.
Yeah.
You're not ready to see it.
True.
Having said that, that's not. I'm not, promoting denial as a positive thing. At all. Okay, that's not what I'm saying.
100%.
But it allowed me to look at denial in a slightly different way, because I'm dealing with the top plate. So I don't have to necessarily worry about all of it all at once. I'm just dealing with the top plate. But yeah, that denial though.
I love that analogy. For me, quite similarly, I think there are certain times when I think that the distraction from things that I am not quite ready to deal with, having the distraction, even if it was an unhealthy distraction at the time, having something to hide in, probably while I was becoming ready to deal with those things, may have kept me as well from going crazy. Right.
Yeah.
Or from doing something else very, very drastic.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I hear,
One way to look at it.
one of the things that used to make me really shake my head and scratch my head when I heard people say is that people who have survived it will tell you in no uncertain terms that they're grateful for having this disease. And for me, that's always one that makes me go,
Even in recovery now.
Even now.
Yeah.
But that said, I can't understand if I open my mind to the fact that certain people, like once as I said, there are certain aspects of my life, certain aspects of my reality that took time for me to be able to process. And over that time, I had something to keep my brain occupied, or to, as you said, if I had to deal with it all at once, it may have proved to be too much. So thankfully, I came out of the fog and I'm in a different place now. But as I think I can agree with the fact that if I had to deal with what's on, or looking at all of those trays at the same time, it could have been overwhelming, or was overwhelming, obviously, clearly, right?
Well, and I thought like the denial in and of itself, I don't even know what I don't know. Or I don't even know how to start. It was just a big overwhelming sense of this impending doom feeling. I knew, obviously, I knew my life wasn't, when you're doing that much drugs, there's a part of you, maybe way, way down in the back, that says, like, this isn't right.
Right. Yeah.
And then you're just like, no, the denial kicks in.
Back, get back there.
Back you.
Get back.
We don't need that here. There's no room for.
Stop talking that madness. Right.
And the loud voice comes out and says, you're fine. You're not hurting anybody.
Whoa.
There's money. You have money, or you have a car. Like having a car was a good denial for me, because it meant I was fine. I could have a car.
And that's another thing too, is I used to tell myself, you know what? You made it to work 4 days in a row.
Yeah. You're fine.
You're
a normal person.
And I mean, at that point, then tell yourself, I deserve a treat.
Yeah.
I paid my phone bill.
I went to work on time.
I'd want to treat myself for doing things that normal people did every day.
Yeah. You want a pat on the back for.
Thank you. Hooray!
Yeah, cause for celebration. Another thing about denial, and then why I think it's so important to have other recovering people around, mainly so in the fellowship we're a part of, is a sponsor is a good example of that. But it doesn't matter. There's people around you that love and care and want the best for you. The thing is about denial is that denial can't spot itself. That's
Correct.
You can't. So
it's impossible. It's impossible to spot self-deception
by yourself. Yeah, right. And anyone out there would be like, well, yeah,
of course,
like not. You're the one in denial. How are you supposed to see that you're in denial? It's actually it's counterintuitive. So when I learned that, I was even more, I wouldn't say reliant, but I had more faith in my fellow recovering community or
For sure.
whatever, right? Just to kind of, and me too is like if you see somebody going down a path,
Right.
say, hey, you know. But
I'll tell you what I have is
denial can be very.
I have like a my five, right? About 4 or 5 people. You're one of them, who have what I would call carte blanche with my stuff, and that means that at any given time, should Alex say, "Listen, dude, pump the brakes. This is what I see happening here with you."
Yeah.
Right? And I don't really, I've never been one to take too kindly to any type of criticism or unwarranted, unasked, unrequested
Yeah. Yeah.
advice.
Good way to put it.
But there are a few people in my life that I allow, and it's been a matter of survival because of the fact that, as I said, I can hide my stuff from myself, right? So yeah, the best antidote to that for me is honest self-appraisal and sharing and being able to take advice from people that I care about and care about me.
Yeah. Being open
to it.
Open-minded.
Yeah.
To maybe, maybe they do care about me. And maybe what they see, I'm not seeing.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what else? Another aspect that I've thought about denial is that there are, like I said, it's a snake that has a few heads. There is our denial, and there is also the denial of those people who would see us get better, who
like love is blind kind of thing.
Love is blind kind of thing.
Okay.
I know I have both friends and family members who wanted the best for me, who maybe on some level might have been aware of what was going on, who maybe didn't know what to do, and kind of secretly hoped that the problem would resolve itself without any type of serious intervention or them for anybody having to get their hands dirty.
Yeah.
Right.
And it'll go away. We'll just ignore it until it goes away. Yeah.
Into that, you can roll in the topic of enabling. People who I had a conversation today about about people on the street. I've over the years had cause to give people money outside the grocery store, right? And so as a result, I've had conversations with people who are at different levels of acceptance or lots of people feel lots of different ways about that type of thing.
Yeah.
And it's a conversation that comes up a lot with respect to I don't give people money because they're just going to go spend it on booze or they're going to go spend it on dope or whatever it is. And you know what? I can understand. I totally understand that perspective. But I look at people who have tried to help me, and when I was down on my luck or when I was in need. Helping someone in that position can be seen as preventing them from feeling the full weight of their consequences, of their actions.
Yeah.
And also further can, if you are financing someone's road to ruin, which I think, families out of love, or friends out of love, or friends who bought into my con.
Right. Yeah.
At times might have been
Leveraging love.
Leveraging, right? There's a
Yeah.
good way to put it.
Like I knew
Pulling
the
on
strings I could
pulling
pull
on your heartstrings.
Yeah.
And and just kind of out of not knowing what else to do, and not, just basically, the way I see it is sometimes those people, even those people who gave me what it was that I was looking for, helped me in that it helped me get one step closer to the bottom that I needed to find,
Fair.
as opposed to, and thankfully things in my case worked out okay, and in not every case, I'm sure that, we would both agree that not every case it works out.
No, it's a roll of the dice for sure.
It's a roll of the dice, absolutely. Yeah. But the denial of people who would want nothing better than to see us get well,
yeah,
can be a contributing factor to contributing factor to us staying sick, and a contributing factor to us finding the bottom that we need to find,
yeah,
in order to change, right?
It's just, it keeps us, it's almost like if you're, like, what's a good metaphor would be, the denial, like when I think of denial, it's the secrets keep us sick, or it's, if ignorance is bliss,
Mm-hmm.
and it goes on both ends. It's like it's a family disease. Mm-hmm. Addiction is a family disease. Mm-hmm. It affects all members, and the denial part is like I'm usually the last one to find out. The one who's actively using drugs is usually they have the opportunity to deal and cope with using these mind-blowing chemicals that help us alleviate that sickness of denial. Whereas, how do the people at home, like my parents, would sit up waiting for hours for me to get back?
For sure.
How are they to cope?
Absolutely.
Maybe denial is a part of that, and it's to alleviate their own. Because, oh my God, I mean, I'm a father now. They're not old enough to have. Well, I have a stepdaughter who, tried, but she ended up not down that path.
For sure.
But I mean, even just as a parent, just thinking, and you as well, this as well as I do, just the thought of them being in any sort of position that I was in, even half of what I was into, is absolutely heartbreaking. To think that would be something I would have to endure for any sort of time.
Right.
For me, I would not be looking forward to that, and I would need some relief.
For sure.
So if it's like, they would come to me and they would say, I need like $100 for, I want to skip town and try and get away from everybody. Right? I'd be like, all right, no problem. Right? This will help you. This will help me. Right?
Right.
But the reality is, and what denial is preventing us from seeing, is that money ain't going to no bus ticket.
No, exactly.
Exactly. But you don't want to believe that. You would rather place your belief in they're going to get better.
Yeah, right.
So where is the denial? I think it comes over a period of time. Like if fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. If they didn't end up going on that bus trip the first time.
Yeah. Well, you know what?
Chances are.
Yeah, for sure. It had happened again. Just back it up a second to that's an interesting thing an interesting sideline that you brought up, in the fact that us both, our children are a little bit older, and to have been down the roads that I've been down, to know the things I know about the addictive, conniving SOB that I've been.
Yeah.
I'd like to think that, although I would never want any of our children to experience even half, as you said, of the roads I've been down, I feel like one of the side benefits of having been there, done that, and lived through it, is the fact that in such a case, I would have something to offer.
Yep.
First of all, I would like to think that I might be someone that they felt like they could talk to. That's one of the absolute things I'm happiest about with respect to having come full circle on this thing is that I did not do it. My demise was very public, and my recovery is also very public, and our children are fully aware.
Maybe break the cycle a bit.
For sure, for sure.
Or bend it a little at least. If y'all following along, the next one we're going to touch on is ego. Isn't that a fun one?
Absolutely. Huge.
Never heard of it.
Once again, who, me?
Ego.
Who, me?
Who, me?
Right? And the many facets that it manages to manifest itself in our lives. Both before and after finding recovery.
Yeah.
I think in a lot of ways, the fact that I'm no longer my own worst enemy, and that I'm thinking more clearly, and that I'm a little more with it. Sometimes, in certain ways, makes me more prone to being run by my ego. Another word that's popped up in my conversations recently is the word insidious, and so I looked it up. I've taken to wanting to understand
The word.
words that I use on
Sure.
a regular basis that
Yeah.
I'm not quite,
Sure. Yeah.
and the definition that I found that I'm most comfortable with today is that insidious means that it's something that I'm able to hide from myself. It is almost unknown to me.
It is you.
Because it is me,
Because it is you.
right?
Okay.
And the insidious nature of my ego will convince me that I'm justified. Will convince me that I will. My argument is rational and reasonable, and that basically if there's a problem, you're the problem. I'm not the problem, you're the problem.
Right.
So that said, when an overinflated ego is combined with an addiction problem, it's a runaway train.
Yeah.
For many of us, myself definitely.
Yeah.
And so the desire to satisfy myself, the desire to take care of I and me, the three of the trifecta, I, me, and mine.
Yeah. Me, myself, and I.
Me, myself. However,
me and mine.
Yeah. Despite all evidence or apparent harm to those around me, is the ultimate in egoism for me.
I like when it comes to ego. Early on for me, it was wherever I go, ego.
Yeah.
And regardless of, let's say I try a geographical relocation, that ego, it's there. Like my addiction and my ego kind of go hand in hand.
For
you
sure.
know, they have a committee meeting every morning, right before I wake up, just to see how they're gonna get Alex today.
For
right?
sure.
And ego has a huge part in that. When a good acronym for it too, I like, is edging God out, EGO, edging God out, because Well, whether you're religious or not, I don't think really holds any water there. It's really just I take my will and it's a self will run riot. We just it's your fault of the finger pointing. When you're pointing, there's three pointed back at you. Right? If you're on video, you can see that. But what it is when you point your finger like a gun, you got three fingers actually pointed back at you. And for me, that ego, although necessary, and this is kind of more, I don't know, maybe like if after you've been clean a while, you start to get to know. But it was interesting for me to learn. Ego has a purpose. And I did do some research on it as well. When you said you looked it up, I did too. Ego is necessary. It's an installed program that comes with the mainframe for a reason.
For sure.
And what ego tells me is that I am me, you are you. That is a light. That is a camera, and I am separate from that, and it gives me autonomy. And so it's a necessary. It's like I am me. That is a lion, and I better get moving, right? So it's necessary to know that I exist in reality, but to take it to like an egomania, and just be like totally self-centered, whether it be when we talked about ego as a spectrum before. Actually, I don't think we touched on that yet, but before we got on camera, we were talking about ego as a spectrum. And in other podcasts, I say it's the pin or the pump. And what that means is like you can have an overinflated ego, you need a pin, and you can have an underinflated ego and you need a pump. And I usually subscribe to the underinflated. And I need to find ways, and whether it's good or bad, okay? But I usually find ways. I don't want to say good or bad, but what works or what doesn't work. But I look for ways to build myself up, and sometimes those ways aren't healthy.
Correct.
There are healthier ways, but that's been my I love the topic of ego because it is it's. And I also love when we're talking about topics, that there is a kind of a dichotomy inside of each topic. Like we were talking about before, there's a plus side to denial, that it prevents us from going nuts. Ego, there's a plus side to it where it's like I exist in this world, but I take it. My addiction says, "Oh no,
for sure.
We're gonna go with that, and we're gonna run with that."
My former sponsor says that. Compliments, with respect to ego, compliments are like flowers. Smell them, but don't inhale them.
Right. Yeah.
And we were just having this conversation about when, I've had a tough time with compliments for much of my life, which, often makes, as we were just saying, how my swelled head sometimes won't fit through the door.
Yeah.
Or
leave.
either that,
yeah.
or I, as you said, there is a spectrum with respect to ego, whereby negative self-image can be an expression. Victimizing, playing the victim.
Yep.
As you said.
Yep. That's one.
Can be an expression of ego as well. Like, pay attention to me. Yep. I've got it so bad.
Self-sabotage.
Can
be a version of.
For sure.
As we're talking, so I'm just thinking about.
Yeah, that. Absolutely. Yeah. I also I think there's a side of me that is more afraid of success than I am of failure. Because isn't that interesting?
When you say it like that, yeah. Yeah.
There's a part of me that that says if I what happens if I do succeed? What happens if I manage to achieve my goals? What then? Then they're going to expect things from me, and I'm going to have, there's always that. In rock and roll terms, it's that second album, where if your first album is amazing and you
top
and
that?
you knock it out of the park, how do you
Right.
top that?
Right.
I think in our daily pursuits in life, I think a lot of times people like myself, are up against that pressure all the time because of the fact that I know how to fail. I've
Yeah.
gotten quite comfortable messing up.
Sure. And
I've
got
got
ways to deal with it.
I've got ways to deal with it. Right?
Rationalizations and justifications.
Yeah.
And it's familiar. I mean, even just the familiarity of it is of a sick sense of comfort. But when you were saying that about success, I find that the fear of the success I find for me, when good things have happened in my life, they don't last. Okay, and then and it's probably what there's a situational bias or it's something. I think it's called situational bias, where something happened in one thing happened bad in my life, and that paints the picture for every time that So my first interaction with success being a negative one usually is right, because it's your first time. But my ego is sitting there saying, well, that's just how it's going to be.
Right.
So don't try too hard. The bottom's going to fall out of this, and all that work you're doing right now is for nothing. And that is, in a sense, an overinflated ego, but in the opposite direction, where I deflate down to the level of my ego, and then okay, well, I just won't even attempt it, or I'll try and attempt it, but I'm limiting myself.
Yeah.
It's the same with recovery. It's like, well, why would I go to the meetings? That's not going to work.
Yeah.
Or why would I see a psychiatrist? That never worked.
Yeah.
So why would I do it again?
I think it's a Homer Simpson quote. Well, I tried, it didn't work. So what's the lesson here? Never try.
Right. Yeah. Is that a Homer Simpson quote?
I think that's Homer Simpson.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Never try.
I'm gonna brush up on my Simpsons.
Busting your home on your Simpsons.
Yeah.
So yeah, the I guess to summarize, we have ego. All of us.
Yep.
To some degree.
Yep.
It's a part of me. It's sometimes my friend. I think there's, as you said, everything in all. There's two sides to it.
Yeah.
The side to it that builds me up in the face of adversity. The side to it that keeps me persevering when I'm tempted to give up. The side that can counter what might be negative self-image, self-doubt, is all good. It's wonderful. The side that puts me, an interesting viewpoint that I've had, something I've noticed about myself is that for a long time, I either felt better than or not as good as every person I ever met. Felt like I had something to offer, or felt like I was a piece of garbage.
Wasn't enough.
right?
Yeah.
In every room that I ever entered.
Yep.
And part of me now feels more deserving, feels more, I guess.
I mean, you've done a lot of work.
I've done a lot of work. I've done a lot of work.
You know.
And I think the
It doesn't happen overnight.
the important takeaway on that particular topic is one word that keeps coming back up in our discussions is balance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, self-awareness, balance, and knowing where do I want my ego to land? I want my ego to land where I am right-sized in my own. You know, I have an accurate and fair assessment of both my assets and my liabilities. I know where I know what I need to work on, and I know where I should be proud. Right.
I find ego stays in check when I'm taking good care of myself, when I'm doing things for others, you know, being of service, to be of service, not with any intent on an outcome that I prefer, but it's like that altruism thing that you and I have talked about, like doing things for the sake of doing things for people.
With no expectation of
no
reward.
expectation of reward.
Can
right?
I do something for somebody and not tell anybody?
You know? And then, you know, when I would often sit in my, well, I remember, you know, coming down, how hopeless and desperate I was for something different, but I would always just default back to dope. And because I didn't know any other way. So I get clean, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, we keep what we have by giving it away, of giving it freely. And that was a real hit to me, and I didn't quite understand until you do it a few times.
Right.
And then all of a sudden your motivation to do things changes. And then all of a sudden you're filled with purpose. And then ego stays in check.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm doing the right things for the right reasons, and all is right in the world. But we can move on to the next topic unless you're good to go. Where I'm watching the timer.
Oh, yeah, certainly. But the best, this is
one last thing.
One last thought is the best way for me to feel better about myself is to do something for somebody else. Yeah. And that was a remarkable revelation for me. Yeah. In that the juice is actually in the giving. Right. And the best way for me to get out of my own head, to get off my high horse, is to see what I can give. It's like Kennedy, ask not what your country could do for you, ask what you could do for your country. Yeah. Ask not what others can do for me, but what can I do for others?
It's like the pin and the pump all in one.
Pin and the pump all in one. Right? Yeah.
Get out of myself.
It's a win-win-win.
Get the fuck out of my own way.
It's a win-win-win.
Swore again.
So yeah.
Okay, so final topic, and again, thanks for sticking around. I appreciate all the support from you guys. We're really passionate about this. Guilt and shame. These ugly, yucky feelings of guilt and shame.
For sure.
You want to start us off?
Certainly.
Go down this path together?
Certainly. Not looking forward to it.
No. Come with me.
However, guilt, one that I've heard about the difference between guilt and shame. Guilt says, I made a mistake. Shame says, I am a mistake.
There's another one, y'all. Hope you're writing this shit down.
Guilt says I am a mistake, or made a mistake.
Yep.
Shame says I am a mistake.
Oh, now, just so you know, Lenny just doesn't come up with these things. He's borrowing it.
Yeah.
You know,
absolutely.
He said it before in other podcasts.
For sure.
It's all borrowed.
Everything. If I say anything that is earth-shattering or sounds incredibly spiritual, it's borrowed with permission from somebody else.
For sure.
That I listen to.
Yeah.
I chose to listen to. And that was one of the ones that stuck with me. Mm-hmm. You know, we have a tool bag of things that we can draw upon in certain situations, and that comes from having open, honest conversations like this one, with over the span of years.
Yep.
So yeah, if I am feeling guilty, that can be a motivator, or it can be a chain around my leg. There are, there have been several moments in my life that I wish had never happened, and there's several things in my life that I wish I'd never said, and in addressing those things, I have to acknowledge the fact that in some cases, I can't change the past, and to drag it around with me hinders my progress, my enjoyment of today, and my contribution to present moments. That said, I think there is an appropriate way for me to own my stuff. There's an appropriate way for me to acknowledge, do my best to make amends for the things, for the choices that I have made. Primarily, first and foremost, by not being the type of person who would make those same choices today, right? And that one is huge for me, to recognize the fact that in all those dark moments when I did things that I wish I had never done, the things that I cower and cringe just to think that I had a hand in, or that were my doing. To recognize the fact, once again, a little bit back to ego, is that the person that I am today would never do those things. And in some cases, the people that were involved, that were adversely affected by my shenanigans, in some cases, those people will understand that, and in some cases, they may not. So after I've done my best to make amends, after I've done my best to own my part, to clean up my side of the street, the best thing I can do is to try not to dirty it again by doing the same thing. There's nothing worse than me apologizing to you and then doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Nothing worse than me calling somebody out for some type of behavior and then doing that the exact same behavior myself.
Yeah, he was without sin cast the first stone.
Correct. And so but that said, to err is human, and to repeat that error and expect things to be different,
that
old chestnut.
Yeah, that old chestnut that we bring out every now and then.
Right?
Yeah.
To judge people for doing things that I have done myself repeatedly is, often, areas, it presents areas for improvement, and lends itself to the phrase that we strive for progress, not for perfection.
Right. Yeah.
Because being a person who is capable of learning from my mistakes, being a person who is capable of a proper apology, and a proper apology, in my opinion, and as I've heard, involves changed behavior. Right? Yeah. One of the components of a proper apology is that I make a conscious effort not to do the same thing.
To repeat it in the future.
To repeat it in the future. So
I like what you said though, and it reminds me. So guilt, I find, is also an installed program in the mainframe, and it is in there as part of the function. What would keep the ego in check a little, if I were guilty of something, I have a feeling of guilt, and it's like a siren that goes off, and without guilt, I think I would be a serial killer.
I think, you know what, that's
You
the
know?
one thing that was just crossing my mind, is
Right.
that it's one of the prime
What's that,
traits of a
Cass?
sociopath.
Right. It's
You
lack of remorse,
lack of remorse,
guilt,
lack of guilt,
right?
lack of accountability,
Lack of accountability.
being able to act without considering the effects of those actions on others.
And isn't that funny how like in there's we all have a conscience. We all know right from wrong to a certain degree, but we
Yeah.
all know when we've either harmed someone.
Generally.
Generally, denial does kind of get in the way of that, and addiction doesn't allow us to. Like I said earlier, I'm the last one to find out. So because I justify to cope with my guilt, because there's something that happens, and I come at it with a justification or a rationalization to appease and cope with my guilt, because that's what shows up first. And it's maybe just like a very split second where I feel the guilt. And then it comes full circle when you're like, you get defensive against your own guilt.
Correct.
And you start to rationalize, well, I didn't mean to do that, or that's your problem, or that's your fault. But that first initial, for me anyways, I've experienced this myself, is that there's that little kind of seed of guilt that now has to be dealt with.
Yeah.
Now, how do I deal with it? Well, I got some options. I could shame myself into maybe behaving different. Like, is shame such a horrible word? Well, no, maybe it's okay to feel a little bit of shame
For sure.
to help myself not repeat. But I tell you, when I first got into recovery, and maybe what a lot of people deal with on a daily basis, dealing with their out of control drug use, is the guilt and shame of these things that we find ourselves doing that we thought we would never do,
Right.
and guilty of chasing
my tail.
And
Yeah.
so that, I think, is more like I always come at it with this different angle, but I have to remember the guilt and shame that had me, bounded when I got into this program, or when I started a program of recovery. It was there needed to be some relief, and I didn't have drugs to do that anymore.
Right.
So
Right.
the first part of was finding out that it was a disease, which alleviated. At first, I was like, well, we're just trying to make excuses for bad behavior.
Rationalize and justify.
Right. And then I thought, well, hold on a sec here. If I do plan on getting anywhere in this recovery process, this guilt's got to go.
For sure.
And not to have excused myself from the wrongdoings, but to alleviate the guilt so I can progress in my recovery process, whether it be 12-step or whatever, it doesn't matter. But that guilt,
I think, at a certain point,
you know,
it's necessary. It's absolutely necessary for me to feel the weight of the consequences of my actions, both to myself and others. But at a certain point, it's also necessary for me to put the stick down, because of the fact that I can beat myself.
Yeah.
You could invite 10 men in here to beat me, and couldn't come close to the beating I can lay on myself. And at a certain point, it becomes counterproductive for me not to consider ways in which I can put that stick down and begin to move forward.
Yeah.
With respect to how guilt or how shame particularly was involved in my triangle of self-destruction, I feel discomfort. I self-medicate to alleviate that discomfort. I overindulge to the point where I feel guilt and shame for doing that to myself and others. I feel the only way to deal with that guilt and shame is to further medicate. And I further medicate, which, so as
Like this
it's very, very simple.
cycle.
It's like a snake consuming itself.
Yeah.
A never-ending, in a never-ending cycle
Yeah.
of guilt, shame, remorse, escape, guilt, shame, remorse. So at some point, having
Insanity, dude.
insanity, but the to see it that way, to be able to name it in order to claim it, and to name it in order to tame it, somewhere in that line, in that circle, it becomes necessary for me to give myself a break. Because nobody is going to give me that break.
Yeah.
Nobody is going to, and I think that's how, for me, particularly, the cycle got broken, in that I recognized the fact that sometimes, rather than having to run from guilt, shame, or the original pain that I was running from, I had to learn to sit in it. I had to learn to find other ways, to heal it. I had to find other constructive ways, not destructive ways, to address it. And primarily,
So can you say that again?
I had to find constructive ways rather than destructive ways to deal with and or ease the discomfort of my guilt and shame, or the original pain that I was running from, that took me down that road to begin with. Now, the primary way that I find to do that is in the open, honest sharing of that. Getting a little emotional here. The open, honest sharing of that pain with people who get it. Right? People who have felt it.
Yeah.
Maybe there's some of you out there.
Yeah. Judgment free.
Right? So that,
because there were some people that I had told in the past that I thought would be, and it backfired.
Didn't work out that way.
Which made me clam up even further and tighter.
Right.
And it was like you said, I wouldn't have been able to release the guilt and the shame, or at least be relieved from it a bit, enough so I could continue on.
And also, you know what it also became necessary for me, and continues to be necessary for me, to look at both my past mistakes and areas where I step in it these days with what I like to term as a compassionate curiosity, rather than the harsh light of judgment. The harsh light, like, as opposed to going, you did it again, you idiot, you did it again. I ask myself, much like I would be to treat myself with the same level of kindness and understanding that I would someone who came to me with the problem. I ask myself, now I wonder why you did that.
Right.
I wonder what, to step a little bit outside, take a good look at what's going on, and say, what are you running from? What hurts? Let's talk about what hurts.
Yeah.
Let's not talk about
because this isn't who you are.
For sure. So
how do we get back to that? What made you run astray from that?
There are never excuses, but there are reasons.
Yeah. Yeah.
To learn the difference between an excuse to do something and a reason, to take a good, honest look at myself. And sometimes how I take a good, honest look at myself is through getting together with someone who who cares about me.
Yeah.
and just running my mouth until such a point that the truth falls out.
Yeah. And there's your reason.
And then Alex goes,
There it is.
hey,
You know, like we're mining for gold or something.
yeah, for sure.
And then just bloop.
For sure. And that, in and of itself, also highlights a very important point that I saw a movie the other day, and there was a kid who was talking to a cop, and he was in the worst moment of his life, and he said, I can't do this alone. And the cop looked at him and said, son, none of us can.
Yeah.
None of us can. And so that, if you are struggling, if you feel alone, if you feel
hopeless,
up against it today or any day, I assure you someone cares.
Yep.
You know, and it may take you a little while to find that person to share it with. You know, contact us.
I was gonna say, just drop it in the comments. You know, we
message us directly.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, I've been responding to every comment. You know, and
so we appreciate you.
We appreciate you. We get it. You know,
it's kind of why we're here.
Yeah.
I mean, it really has been. It's been a double-edged sword for us.
Yeah.
There's not a double-edged sword. It's been a
two-way street.
A two-way street.
Yep.
Yeah. And a double-edged sword.
Yep. It benefits us as to do this as much as it benefits you in whatever way it does. Like this actually, what we're doing helps us to stay clean.
Right.
Right. And that's why we do it. You know.
For sure.
And if someone gets something out of it, even better.
Yeah.
You know, bonus.
So.
Anyways, I think that's a good place to leave it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I learned a lot. Actually, you know what? I wanted to say that before we chime off is I myself take something away from everything that we do, man. Every 100%. Conversation that you and I have regardless of the podcast.
For sure.
Some bro love there. But again, thanks everyone for listening.
This has been the fourth episode.
This too shall cast.
We'll see you again next time. Don't forget to hit the button, smash them, subscribe, comment, share with your friends.
Yeah.
We appreciate you, and we're glad you're here with us today. Have a good one.
See you in the next one.
Peace.
Peace out.